today we are going to do some circle analytical geometry, and I'm going to do some questions with you that we haven't seen before, because I think it's important for us to do lots of different types of things as well. But before we jump into that, I just want to summarize what's important for us when we do circle analytical geometry. So the first thing that I have written on the page here, number 1, what is that formula where I've put the number 1 in blue? What does that formula represent? Can anybody tell me? The blue formula that I've labeled number 1, what does that represent for us? The matrix are quiet today, Yolanda.
Come on, guys. Let's
There
make
we
this
go.
fun.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. There we
So
go. We are
Gugu,
awake now. We are awake. Thank you,
there we
Dokos
go.
and Google.
Yeah, so you're actually both correct, because the equation of a circle is distance formula. So yes, you're right. Absolutely. Okay, so in the context of what we're going to do today, we would say that it is the equation of a circle. And if that represents the equation of a circle, then here in green, I've written that A and B will be the coordinates at the center. And the letter R represents the length of the radius. So on the right-hand side of the equation, we have R squared, which is the length of the radius squared. No problem, Lebogang. We're glad you could join us. Okay, so another thing that is important for us when we are doing analytical geometry is this concept that I'm numbering number 2 over here. And this is the concept that the gradient of the tangent multiplied by the gradient of the radius is always equal to -1, because the radius is perpendicular to the tangent. So you will definitely be using that in your exam as well. The third thing that I have written in green is another important point when it comes to grade 12 analytical geometry, especially in questions where there are 2 tangents. Okay, so this is probably used more in Euclidean geometry, but tangents from the same point will be equal to one another. Okay, so we may need that in some of our questions as well. And then the other thing that I want to encourage you not to forget about, this is point number 4, all the way over here, and that is Pythagoras. Okay, so don't forget that in right-angled triangles, you can use the theorem of Pythagoras to calculate the length of a missing side. Okay, so all 4 points are important. The equation of a circle where A and B are the coordinates at the center and R represents the radius of the circle. The gradient of the tangent times the gradient of the radius is -1, so we can always use this to calculate the gradient of a tangent if we need to. If we know what the gradient of the radius is, tangents from the same point are equal, and do not forget about the theorem of Pythagoras. In grade 12, just coming back to the theorem of Pythagoras, you are allowed to construct a line connecting 2 vertices of a right angle triangle. So in some cases, the right angle triangle may not be drawn, but you are allowed to construct that line. You're not allowed to construct anything else, but you are allowed to construct that line in your working. And they may sometimes refer to it without it even being there. Okay, all right, so let's jump in and have a look at the first question that we're going to do this evening, question number 4. And it tells us that in the diagram below, the circle with center M has equation x minus 2 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 17. A and B are points on the circle, and the line AB has an equation y equals -1. So that means that it is a horizontal line and it is parallel to the x-axis. The other thing that they have told us is that AE is a tangent to the circle at A. All right, so Guguletu, do you want to ask a question about the constructing of the line? Is that what you're asking about? I don't know if I've got an example like that. Oh, yes, we do. Okay, so Gugu, I'm going to show you what I mean by that in the 4th question. That's why I mention it. So if you have a look over here All right. They've told us that MOS is a diameter. All right. They've also told us that NM is a tangent to the smaller circle. So theoretically over here, well, not theoretically, but you've got a right angle over there because the diameter is perpendicular to the tangent. So now when they ask us to calculate the length of SN, can you see SN is not even drawn? But we can connect S to N, even though it's not there, and we could possibly use the theorem of Pythagoras to work out the length of Sn. Does that make sense to you now? It's something that you need to see in context, isn't it? Oh, you see what I mean now. Okay, but we'll do this question when we get to it. All right, that's why I mentioned it up at the top there, just so that you're aware of that as well. Okay, cool. All right, so let's go back to this question. This is kind of going to ease us in a little bit. It's not as challenging as the second question is. The first thing that they want us to do in question 4.1.1 is they want us to write down the coordinates of M. So I tell you what, I'm going to stick 4.1.1 over here just so that it's out the way. And if we need to do more working, I've got the space available over there. So the coordinates at M, can anybody tell me what the coordinates at M would be, please? Remember, M is the center of the circle. So what are the coordinates at M? That's it. So you're all putting it in there. Thank you, Tristan. Thank you. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly, Anamika. Ntlantla is correct. Lesego is correct. Tegofatso is correct. Mamelo is correct. Gugu is correct. Unati, be careful, it's the other way around. Okay, remember we have to change the signs of A and B. Okay, so the X coordinate would be 2. The Y coordinate would be -2. And of course, you can always check that, okay? Which quadrant is M in? It is in the 4th quadrant. So there needs to be a positive X and a negative Y. Okay, all right. So that's 2 marks, 1 mark on each of those. Okay, let's do question 4.1.2 over here. The next thing that they want us to do is calculate the coordinates of A and B. So again, I'm not going to tell you how to answer this question. I'd like to hear from you guys with the information that's on the screen. What do you think you do? There we go. And Nhlanhla, you're quick off the mark. All right. I don't know if everybody else managed to see that. I know Nhlanhla saw that very quickly. But we know that the equation of that line is y equals -1. Okay, so we would sub the -1 into the equation, all right, for the value of y, and then we would be able to solve for x. Right, clearly we're expecting 2 different solutions for x. The negative x value must be the coordinate at A, and the positive x value must be the coordinate at B. Okay, I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to let you guys do that, and then you can DM Yolanda and I your answers. If you are finished and I've acknowledged you and I've said you correct, go on to the next question if you want to, but I will talk about that when I get there. All right, so work out the coordinates at A and B, please. Remember, show you're working when you've subbed in. Perfect, Nhlanhla. Well done. All right. So Nhlanhla, go on to the next question and see if you can determine the equation of the tangent. That's perfect. Well done. Good job. Everybody else, don't be put off. Some of us work faster than others. You guys keep going, okay? If you are stuck, don't forget you can reach out to Yolanda and I. You can DM us if you want to, if you don't want to say anything in front of other people. Okay, so intercausal, that's perfect. Just be careful about your Y coordinate. Okay, I think it was just a little typo. I'm sure you had the correct coordinate written down on the page, but you've worked out your X coordinates perfectly. So that's lovely. Well done, intercausal. You also try question 4.1.3 now. Good job. Okay, so Gugu, I also don't know if you've just made a little typo. Your Y coordinate, just be careful of that, but your X coordinate at A is perfect. Okay, so it can't be the Y coordinate that you've said because it's not an X intercept. Okay, it's a point in the third quadrant. Maybe it's just a little typo. But how you worked out the X was hundreds. Okay, well done. Okay, so so beautiful. Well done. That's lovely. Good, Tristan, quite right. Okay, so just make sure that if they ask you for coordinates, you write it as a coordinate pair. Okay, beautiful. Well done. So a lot of you sending through lovely answers for question 4.1.2. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so Amu, don't feel bad. All right. I'm going to go through this question right now. So what you would have done is this. We would have subbed in, yes, Nhlanhla, that's correct. Lesejo, perfect, well done. Okay, you are welcome to try question 4.1.3. If I have seen your answers for A and B, I'm going to start going through that solution now. Okay, so this is what we would have done. We would have written down the equation of the circle, and then we would have subbed in this -1 in place of y. So in place of the y over here, I'm going to put in -1 plus 2 squared is equal to 17. Lesego, that's perfect. Gugu, maybe just a little typo on your y value for your b coordinate. Otherwise, that's perfect. Well done. You guys can also look at question 413 while I just go through 4.1.2 with the others. Amu, is that making a bit more sense now? And now you're going to go x squared minus 4x plus 4. You're going to square your binomial. And then inside here, that's going to be minus 1 plus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. And then we're going to bring the 17 over from the other side. Now we're going to get it into standard form. And 4 plus 5 minus 17 is going to leave us with negative 12. Okay, and as I've said to you guys before, there we go. Okay, don't leave off the equals 0. Okay, make sure it is on every line of your quadratic after you've moved all your terms over. Okay, now you're going to factorize, or you can use the quadratic formula if you want to. Make sure if you use the quadratic formula that you show that you've subbed into the quadratic formula, and now we've got two solutions. Okay, so either x is 6 or x is equal to negative 2. So at A, it has to be negative 2 and negative 1. At B, it has to be 6 and negative 1. Okay. Sure, Nhlanhla, you're very fast. Okay, Shem, I should have something else for you that you could continue with. It's just, you know, if we were sitting in a classroom, it would be so much easier. I can't go down to the next question just yet, Nhlanhla, but that's well done. Okay, good job. All right, so there's going to be a mark for subbing in the minus 1, always a mark on our factors, and possibly a mark on either of our two answers. Or what they could have done is given you a mark on the standard form and then a mark on both answers. But if they did this, it would be a little bit nicer for you guys. Okay, on to the next question. So this is now 4.1.3. Good, well done, Nhlanhla. All right, they want us to determine the equation of the tangent AE to the circle at A. All right, any ideas as to where we would start this particular question? How would we find the equation of the tangent? Okay, so yes, the tangent is perpendicular to the radius. Let's just read. Yes, that's right, Tristan. Yes, into causal, that's right. We've got to find, there we go. That's it, beautifully put, Segofat. So find the gradient of, okay, AM. Okay, we don't need the gradient of AB. We need the gradient of AM. We need the gradient of the radius. Good, well done. Okay, so now we need to find the gradient of AM. And remember, we've got the coordinates at A over here. We've got the coordinates at M over there. So if we go and we sub in our change in y, we would end up with minus 2 plus 1 up at the top. And at the bottom, we'd have 2 plus 2. So that would give us negative 1 over 4. And again, if we look at the, not that the line is there and it doesn't even need to be there, we can see that it would have a negative gradient. So that makes sense. And now we can say that negative 1 over 4 multiplied by the gradient of our tangent gives us negative 1 because the radius is perpendicular to the tangent. So therefore, the gradient of the tangent would now be equal to 4. And now we can go and sub into y equals mx plus c. So we've got y equals 4x plus c. We're going to sub in point A because the tangent goes through A. Remember, its coordinates are minus 2 and minus 1. So now we've got negative 1 equals 4 times negative 2 plus c. So this gives us negative 1 equals negative 8 plus c. Add 8 to both sides, and this would give us 7. Okay, so this would be y equals 4x plus 7. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, determining the equation of the tangent. Are there any questions? Are we all good with that? Okay. All good. All right. So you all knew what to do there. Okay. So that was out of 4. They probably would have given us the final mark there. There would be a mark for subbing in. There would be a mark for that and a mark over there. Okay. Let's have a look at the last question. So, Ntlantla, you're just going to have to hang tight here. I'm going to get everybody to try this question again on their own. 4.1.4, calculate the coordinates of E. So now E is this point all the way up here. If BE is a tangent drawn through point B and has the equation y equals minus 4x plus 23. So again here, you can see they've given us a line, but the line is not actually on the diagram. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that E and B are not joined. You don't have to join them. I'm drawing a line over there for you. I don't know why I've chosen one with arrows on the end. It shouldn't have arrows on the end, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. All right, so there is our tangent, just so that we're able to visualize it. I suppose it should actually be slightly over to the right-hand side. That would be a little bit more correct. There we go. Okay, so they've given us the equation of the pink line. They've told us that it is the line y equals minus 4x plus 23. How do they want us to calculate the coordinates at E? Bearing in mind, you've just worked out the equation of AE. What do you think they want from you? What do you reckon they want, guys? That's it, Lebogang. Good. So, Teddy, have a look at what Lebogang said. There we go, Tsechofat, so beautifully put. Okay, equate the two equations of the tangents. And to Kozo at E, the equation of line EB equals the equation of line EA. Beautiful. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go down a little bit so that you can see, whoopsie, can you see it? Okay, so you can see both of them here. Remember, here is the equation of line BE. I've highlighted it in pink. Here's the equation of line AE. I've highlighted it in blue. That's it, Amahle. Go for it. Okay, you guys work out the coordinates at E. Oh, wow. Okay, so Ntokozo sent an answer. Good, Ntokozo. Okay, you've got the same answers in Ntlantla there. Okay, so you like Ntlantla, you're just going to have to hang tight for a minute while everybody else catches up. Okay, so you guys are doing this quite quickly. Okay, good, Mamelo. Good, Sehofatso. Good, Ntokozo. Okay, I think I've already said that to you. Yes, Tristan, quite right. That is your X coordinate. Okay, so I'm just going to start slowly behind you guys here. That's it, Gugu. Perfect. Well done. And then we could sub into either one of our Y's. And we'd get that. Good. Well done. Okay, so the coordinates at E are 2 and 15. Perfect. Well done, everybody. Thank you for all of those of you that sent through answers. Okay, so that was out of 3 marks. There has to be a mark on equating, on our X, and on our Y. They could also give you a mark on the coordinates. So just make sure. Yes, Amu, good. Well done. That's beautiful. Perfect. So just make sure if they ask you for coordinates, make sure that you give coordinates, because you never know on which question they're actually going to give you a mark on a coordinate pair. Often they don't, but in one question they may decide to do that and you won't know what question that is. So if they give them what they want, okay, if they ask for coordinates, make sure you write it as a coordinate pair. Okay, cool. All right, so that is the easier of the 2 questions over and done with. Let's get into the more difficult question now, which is going to be this one here. And I've specifically taken all of these questions out of final papers so that you guys have opportunities to practice the sorts of questions that they're going to ask you. Okay, all right, so we're ready to go. Question 4 says, M with coordinates -3 and 4 is the center of the large circle, and a point on the small circle having 0 and 0. So that's at the origin. From N, which has the coordinates -11 and P, a tangent is drawn to touch the large circle at T. So you can see that over on the left of the diagram with NT parallel to the y-axis, and they've put the arrows on the y-axis and on NT for you. Then they've told us that NM is a tangent to the smaller circle at M with MOS a diameter. Okay, so the diameter of the smaller circle goes to the origin. And as I was trying to illustrate to Gugu earlier, we know that the diameter is going to be perpendicular to the tangent of the circle. So we know that at M, there is going to be a 90-degree corner. We're obviously going to use that somewhere in our calculations. So the first thing that they want us to do, and again, I'm going to try and let you guys do as many of these questions on your own rather than me telling you, but we probably are going to need a little bit of time to talk about question 4.4, although I have already alluded to how it would be done. Let's have a look at question 4.1. They want us to determine the equation of the small circle. Okay, so because the small circle has its origin at the center, what would the equation of the circle be in the form of? Can anybody tell me? When a circle is centered at the origin, that's it. Good, and Nhlanhla, off you go. Okay, so Nhlanhla's got that right. Everybody else? Do you know what I mean by that? The equation of a circle that's centered at the origin. And Nhlanhla, you can keep going if you want to. There we go, Lebogang. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Beautiful. Yes, Mamelo, beautifully put. All right, so all you have to do, that's it, Tristan, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Beautiful. Excellent. So you guys know this. Okay, so you just have to work out the length of the radius. All right, so I'm going to let you guys do that. DM me your answers when you're ready. Okay, so I'm just going to put it up there for anybody who wasn't sure. And if you are unsure on what to do, let Yolanda and I know, and we can help get you started. But you should be able to do this by yourselves. Okay, let's just have a look. Mamelo, perfect. You can go on to the second question. Amahle, I don't know if it was just a little typo, but I'm getting the length of your radius is not the same. That's it, Lesejo. Good, well done. You can also go on to the next question. Good, Lesejo. That was nice. Just maybe, oh, was it a typo? Okay, that's fine. Can you tell me what you meant to say, Amahle? That's it, Chadwin. There you go, Rafense. Well done. Okay, so a whole bunch of you sending through answers, which is lovely. So I'm just going to wait another minute before I actually do this question, just to give the others a chance. If I've said lovely, then you can go on to question 4.2. That's it, Gugu. Yes, Tehofat, so lovely. Well done. Well done, everyone. Okay, so I'm just going to start now quietly behind you, and I'm going to calculate the length of the radius, which is the length of OM. Actually, that's silly of me because we want r squared, isn't it? Okay, so the length of the radius is 5. So that means that r squared would be equal to 25. So we've got x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. So the clue here, guys, is that you've got to use the coordinates at the origin. Okay. Okay, r squared. So the length of the radius is 5, but r squared would be 25. Okay, Mahle? All right, so r is 5, but r squared is 25. Okay, and remember on the right-hand side of your equation, you want r squared. Okay, all right, good stuff. Okay, I haven't seen any final answers from 4.2 yet. Are we getting stuck? Those of us that have tried this question. Okay, so I've got an answer from Nhlanhla. Good. All right, so Nhlanhla's not stuck. You can go on, Nhlanhla. All right, so now they want the equation of the large circle matrix. Okay, in that form, because it's obviously not centered at the origin. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you guys what to do. I'm going to give you a chance to try and do this on your own. You keep going. Good. Okay, Mamelo, you've also got it. Beautiful. Well done. Very nice. You spotted what you were supposed to do there. Excellent. Carry on going. So you're going to do question 4.3 now. Okay, so Lebogang, you've got to fill in what the R squared is. That's the hard part of this question, is working out what the length of the radius is. Okay, Kalipa, your coordinates at the center or what's going inside your brackets is perfect, but your R squared is also not correct. So I understand why this is the hard part of this particular question. Okay, so this question is a bit harder than the one that we've just done. So the challenge with 4.2 is working out the length of the radius. There's something important you need to notice on the diagram that's going to help you with that. Anna, you've seen the answer. Good. Anamika, I hope I've said your name correctly. That's good. Well done. Very nice. You can also start looking at question 4.3 now. Okay, so Tristan, also your R squared must have a value. Okay, but the rest of what you've sent is correct. Okay. Good, Amahle. Nice. Okay, so lots of you are seeing that now. Yeah, that's the hard part, isn't it? Yeah, Nhlanhla, that's correct. You've got it. Well done. I got the same answer as you. Okay, so Nhlanhla, you can go ahead and go and have a look at question 4.4. But I think I'm just going to have to explain to a couple of people what to do with 4.2, those people that didn't understand. Do you want a little bit more time with 4.2? Or I'm just don't want us to run out of time here. Shall I help you guys? Okay. All right. That's fine. So Tristan said yes. So anybody who's struggling with 4.2 and you didn't get the value of R squared, then let me. Okay. This is 2 minutes. Okay. Okay. Owami, I'm afraid your R squared is not correct. Okay, Lesejo, I'm only literally going to wait 2 minutes because I don't want to hold up the others. Okay, so Tehufatso, I'm afraid, I'm sorry. The R squared you've sent me is also not correct. Don't stress, I'm going to go through it now. Just waiting one more minute. Okay, I'm afraid that's also your R squared is not correct, but don't worry, we're going to go. Okay, is that all right, Lesejo? Thank you so much. Okay, now you guys are going to be like, oh, really, is that it now? But this is the way that you would do it. Okay, can you see over here? They've told you that NT is parallel to the y-axis. Okay, so if I draw a line from M through to T, that would be a radius, wouldn't it? Do you agree? Because remember, this is the center of the bigger circle. Is everybody happy with that? Okay, all right. So if I can work out the difference from here to here, I know the length of the radius. I know the x coordinate at M, and I know the x coordinate at this point over here because this line is parallel to the y-axis. So I can work out the length of the radius by using the x-coordinate at the center and the x-coordinate at the tangent to the circle. Does that make sense to everybody? So in other words, the length of MN is a radius, and you're going to take the x to the right and you're going to subtract the x on the left to get the length of a horizontal line. So it would be -3 plus 11, which gives you 8. Okay, so your radius is going to be equal to 8. Does that make sense to everybody? That's it. Good. Yes, all right. I know, Lebogang, it's one of those things that it's so easy and yet it's at the same time it's so difficult, isn't it? Okay. All right. So MN was our radius. And we're going to get that by saying -3 minus -11, which leaves us with 8. So therefore, it's going to have the coordinates x plus, or sorry, the equation of the circle rather is going to be x plus 3 squared plus y minus 4 squared, which is equal to 64 because that is r squared. Okay, so here, sorry, we didn't have any marks for the first one. It's out of 2. So that it's in the form x squared plus y squared equals 25. In a question like this, it's just because you've got a tangent which is parallel to the y-axis and you know the coordinates. Is it, oh, sorry, MT, sorry, MT, yes, sorry. What did I say, MN? Oh, I beg your pardon, sorry, yeah, you're quite right. Sorry, that's MT, yes, MT, so that's MT, there we go. Okay, and that would be out of 3, and I imagine it would be for this term and that one over there. Okay, so I don't want us to run out of time. And I know it's so difficult to fit all of this into one lesson. So let's carry on with question 4.3. So I'm going to shove question 4.3 over here. And I think what I'm doing is I'm going to work you guys through question 4.3 and 4.4. And Tlantla, I know you're busy with 4.4 at the moment. You just carry on going. That's not a problem at all. Now what they want from us, matrix, is the equation of NM. Okay, so we're not too worried about that because we know that it's a tangent, NM is a tangent to the circle, and we know that OM is a or MOS is a diameter. So we can calculate the gradient of OM. And we know that the gradient of OM is going to be, the product of the my words, the gradient of OM times the gradient of MN is going to give us -1. Okay, so we're working out the gradient of OM. So our change in Y, so we're going to say 4 minus 0 over -3 minus 0, and that's going to give us a gradient of -4 over 3. Okay, yes, Nhlanhla, well done. Okay, you are on fire today. All right, so then the gradient of OM times the gradient of your tangent is going to be equal to -1 because the radius is perpendicular to the tangent. So you can see they always ask that. So this was -4 over 3. So this was line MN. And that means that the gradient of MN is going to be 3 over 4. You know that it goes through point M, which has the coordinates -3 and 4 if you look at the diagram. Okay, so we're now going to sub that in. We're going to sub in point M. So we've got y equals 3 over 4x plus c. We're going to sub in point M. Let's just check on the coordinates again. -3 and 4. So 4 will go here. Sorry, that's 3 over 4, and -3 will go over there. And now we would have to work out the value of C. Okay, so in this case, C would be equal to 25 over 4. So the equation of the tangent, it is the line y equals 3 over 4x plus 25 over 4, like so. Is everybody happy with that? That's not too difficult. Working out r squared in the previous question was, I think, harder than what this was. Is that okay? Is everybody happy with that? Okay, so they always ask us this. So the value of C, subbing in over there, and that over there. All right, so now that at least leaves us a little bit of time to discuss the length of SN, which obviously is going to take a bit more time because it's out of 5 marks. All right, so now doing question 4.4. This is what I was saying to Gugu earlier. It's something that we overlook. Remember, we have got a right angle triangle, and if we connect S to N, we do in fact have a right angled triangle like so. Okay, so now working out the length of SN. It's possible for us. Do we actually need the theorem of Pythagoras in this particular question? Let's see. Okay. Well, what we can do, yes, absolutely. What we can do, because we're going to need the coordinates, or we could use distance formula, I suppose, if we wanted to as well, because that would also work. What we're going to have to establish here are coordinates at N and coordinates at S. All right. So in order to establish the coordinate P at N, that's going to be a little bit easier because you've already got the equation. Right. So you know the equation of MN was y equals 3 over 4x plus 25 over 4. So we can work out what P is, the y coordinate, by subbing in the x coordinate. So that means that P would be equal to what? Let's see what you guys are getting. That's it. You'd get -2. Quite right. And now we want the coordinates at S. All right, so look at it like this. O is the center of the circle. It's the midpoint of the diameter. So you can use midpoint formula to work out the coordinates at S. Or the other way that you could do it, I suppose, is that you've said to yourself, you've gone 3 to the left and 4 up. So here you need to go however many to the right and however many down. Okay, that would be, you could also use translation, but it's probably easier for you to understand it using midpoint formula. So in other words, so O is the midpoint of line, what am I writing there? Is the midpoint of line MS. So to work out the coordinates at S, the x coordinate at S is going to be equal to -3 plus, the x coordinate at S plus -3 over 2 is going to be equal to 0. Okay, so cross multiply, that would give you the x coordinate at S, and that would be equal to, so 2 times 0 would be 0. Sorry, I'm trying to do too much in one time here because I'm just worried about us running out of time when I shouldn't be. Okay, is equal to 0, so therefore the x coordinate at S would be equal to 3. Is everybody happy with that? It's actually not a difficult concept at all. And then we can work out the y coordinate at S in the same way. So the y coordinate at S plus, what was it? 4 over 2 is equal to the y coordinate at the midpoint. Okay, so the y coordinate at S plus 4 is equal to 0. So the y at S would be equal to -4. Okay, so exactly, Techofat, so that's perfect. So if you went here, you went 3 to the left and 3 to the left and 4 up. Here you were going 3 to the right and 4 down. Okay, so 3 to the right and 4 down from the origin would give us those coordinates at S. So we know that the coordinates at S are going to be 3 and -4. We know that the coordinates at N are going to be -11 and -2. And now we can calculate the distance of SN. We didn't even have to use the theorem of Pythagoras, although I suppose we could have if we wanted to. But this, I think, would have been a little bit quicker. So here we would end up with -11 minus 3 squared plus -2 plus 4 squared. Okay, and then I think that should give us the same answer that you sent through in Nhlanhla. Okay. Okay. Are you guys getting 10 root 2? That's it. Okay, so you should get 10 root 2. Okay, so